In this video, I'm going to be attempting to survive 100 days in 1.18 modded terrain. Thanks to our friends over at Mojang, we now have 1.18 and Terralith 2.0 has come out. If you guys don't know what Terralith is, it's basically this mod that adds a ton of different biomes without adding any blocks whatsoever to Minecraft. There are some really sick biomes we get to check out and I'm so excited to explore it. Along with much adventure, I'm going to be building a ton in this 100 days and basically create my own village. So sit back, relax, grab some popcorn, and enjoy this relaxing 100 days video. Oh, I almost forgot. If you guys wouldn't mind, maybe hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. That would be great. Anyway, it's time for you to watch me survive 100 days in 1.18 hardcore modded Minecraft. Welcome to 1.18, everybody, with a little bit of a modification. However, we start off day one with the good old tree chopping. Get myself my wood pickaxe and jump down Winter's hole to get some stone. Ooh, don't take that out of context. Starting this video off great, huh? But now we have all of our stone tools and we're ready to adventure this new world. First things first, we saw a birch biome that looked almost like an acacia mixed with a jungle. It was really cool. With this mod pack, basically what it does is it takes all the blocks that are already in Minecraft and makes like 82 different biomes as well as upgrades our current biomes. And then of course we're also playing in 1.18, so we have the awesome cool caves, we have the giantly tall mountains, and there's just so much to explore. First thing I did was grab myself a magma block and start mining as much iron as I could in these underwater caves. I wanted to have some iron tools before I found like one of those really big caves because I have a feeling I'm gonna find quite a bit of exposed diamond down there. And then I accidentally met up with Winter in one of his own caves and we actually did split up at the very start and somehow we made it together again. I don't know. I smelted my iron and made an iron pickaxe and then continued caving. These 1.18 caves are crazy large. I was going to water bucket this jump, but I figured I shouldn't risk my life this early. However, I definitely would have pulled it off because you guys know me. Then I continued mining iron so that I would have some for armor and went down into the deeper caverns. My first vein of diamonds was a 4 vein and this was right after I split off from Winter. We decided to take two separate sides of the cave, but when I found my second vein of diamonds, after mining them, I realized that we were about to run into each other. Our cave literally went right into a gigantic cavern and there was nothing we could do about it. However, I probably should have given these diamonds to him because he only got 2 the entire time we were mining. But I'm not stingy for diamonds, so if you ever needed any, I'd always hand them over. I definitely wasn't lacking for diamonds. These things were quite easy to find in the, well, is this called the Deep Dark? I don't know. It's just a cavern to me right now because there's no warden until the wild update, but we are in 1.18, so I'm excited to explore. Day 2, Winter and I set out on a journey to find a spot where we could both build, and we stumbled upon what looked like an oil leak in a way, I guess. I have no idea what this place is, but right next to it was a guardian temple. It was very interesting to see very murky water, and we both described this as a no-go, okay? We were out of there as fast as we could because Winter suspected that a kraken would spawn, and we don't even have a kraken in here, so I don't know what's gonna happen. Eventually, we made it to land, and it was kind of barren. It was like a really hilly plains biome, which was super cool because we don't have a lot of hills in plains biomes, but this made it a lot cooler. 1.18 is for sure better than whatever version of Minecraft we played for our original 100 days together. I think it was worth restarting for the 1.18 update. When nighttime rolled around, we had finally stumbled into a valley that we both agreed on. I was gonna build in one part of the valley, and he was gonna build on top of the valley, actually, on one of the mountains that is introduced in 1.18. Not really technically a mountain because it's like a hill, but in our eyes, it's still kind of a mountain. I mean, we haven't had this kind of generation ever, so yeah, this is classified as a mountain for us. So instead of going all out for a gigantic mega build on day 4, I decided to start terraforming for a bit of a smaller base. I've been really enjoying making really kind of small builds and then branching off of that with other builds for different reasons because I kind of want to make like a town when I do these types of videos now instead of just making one gigantic build. However, terraforming was not that fun. There was a giant cave I had to cover up, and this mountain is very lopsided. Again, not a mountain, a hill. I gotta remember that, but you guys know what I mean. Alright, so for my first house, or at least building of this entire 100 days, I'm gonna need a lot of stone, and to smelt that stone, I need coal. So we're going on a mining trip for coal. And then mining trip, I mean, I probably forgot about the whole coal thing, went mining for diamonds, and forgot that it didn't spawn all the way down there now, because in 1.18, coal is like very difficult to find when you're actually caving, and that's really annoying, but here we are. Oh, look at that. I was right. I went down and found diamonds instead. All right, on to the next day. Okay, so I went ahead and looked at a Pinterest image for this build because I really wanted to do something really kind of small, and I'm not very good at the small builds yet. So yes, I did use a Pinterest image, and I probably will remember to leave the link down below. I swear I'm not trying to copy anyone's stuff. I don't have a good memory, okay? Basically, what this build was going to be is like the start of a medieval town, and I wanted my base to be the epicenter of it and the one highest on the mountain, as well as the one that kind of looks the more medieval. Most of my medieval builds, however, have been like heavy spruce, but this one was heavy stone, and I don't know how I feel about it because I do the stone wall idea, but I think for now I'm going to keep it like this. It's definitely one of the more interesting builds I've done because of all the detail that's put into the sides to make it look a lot cooler. You don't want the tower to just kind of be inside the building. You want it to be like the building was built on the tower, or at least that's how I envision this working. And I think this place looks really, really nice on the outside. Obviously, I haven't done any of the decorations on the inside or around the base of it yet, but for now, this is the structure we're working with. Just like every Minecraft build that I've done so far, I do end up adding a kitchen with a separate flooring style so that it looks a little bit more separated. I add in what I imagine to be the chimney and of course put in my smokers and my furnace. Then I add in my patented spruce trapdoor just for some fun. I don't know why I always put one on like the furnaces and stuff because this is wood. That would burn. I don't know, it's gonna stay there though because that looks cool. Then I added this small little storage area with the crafting table just for some extra little stuff because I know I'm going to have a storage area, but, you know, extra always helps. Then I went upstairs and slept because Phantom started spawning and Winter and I were not going to deal with that. Day 8 was a little bit different. I went around the outside of the house and started exterior decorating. In the front, I added in this little, like, pot of leaves, which there's no pot for leaves, so we're just going to say it's a pot of leaves because it's just trapdoors and leaves. Then on the side, underneath the campfires, which were very annoying to craft, by the way. No one likes crafting these things. They need to make this easier to craft. I put in another little storage area in case I have a farm back here. I can always keep some farming supplies over here, and it's just extra storage before I have to make like an actual gigantic storage building for all these things. Something I've learned throughout the years and recently is if you want to build like a really cool town area, always make your first house quite small with limited storage so that you do eventually have to branch out no matter what you do. After finishing up some of those areas, I started terraforming yet again because I wanted this to be up on its own hierarchy and I wanted a backyard and all of these kinds of ideas that I'm spitting in my head right now. They look really cool in my head and let's see how they turn out. So I woke up on day 10 realizing that I hadn't hit my record button on day 9 and you guys missed out on me building my walls around the base. Very, very sorry, I know, bad YouTuber moment. Let's just move on and pretend that that didn't happen, maybe. Okay, anyway, day 10 I started working on the paths from my house to possibly a farmland that I started to fold and create into this little mountain. What I really wanted to accomplish here was kind of make like a cliffside little farm that I could sort of branch off with and make bridges from and all that kind of stuff. I want this place to look very, very different and unique when it comes to terraforming because that's something that I haven't focused on really in Minecraft, and I think it'd be really cool to bring it into the 1.18 world as this has been the overhaul for all terraforming. Before I started building the cliffside that I was just talking about, I wanted to work on the backyard, I guess, of my little base. I wanted it to be pathed out really, really nicely so that I could walk around it and enjoy the whole entire thing. However, I realized later that I kind of wanted a farm back here. By nighttime, I'd been working on my path and the little cliff, and Winter wanted to come over and hang out, check out the base, that sort of thing. You guys haven't seen him in a while. Also, this is not netherite, this is a texture pack. We're still in iron armor, by the way. Okay, relax. If you guys haven't noticed already, his house is up on the cliff, and it looks really, really nice right now. He's going for a much bigger build than he did in our original 100 days in 1. Whatever it was. And I think he's enjoying 1.18 a lot more than normal. But we toured my house a little bit, and he called it small, okay? I'm a little, I'm mad about that. It's not small, it's quaint. Quaint. That's a word, I believe. So I continued that farm area that I really wanted to do and sort of created my own pathway around the farm. The farm kind of just makes it a little bit more interesting than just having flowers back here because I already have a lot of plot area to do that with. I find a farm just more detailed in general because of how they grow and how many you can grow, the different areas you can grow them in, all of the different plants, all that kind of stuff. So I think this is going to be really, really well incorporated into the build. Alright, so after I figured out the farm, I started using lilacs, poppies, daisies, and sweetberry bushes to come up with some exterior design flower-wise. I more or less just place them in a random pattern around the area and let the sweet berry bushes grow and just let all the detail kind of come through. I think it looks really, really nice. And I put a little bit on the path. I don't have very many flowers right now, but I promise you I'm gonna get way more later, okay? That is always something I want, is more flowers. Afterwards, I continue building on my farmland cliff that I was working on, okay? This took me a couple days to figure out, but basically what I really wanted was the dirt to come out on top and then to have a cliff that sort of caved in as more like a cliff edge, and I think it turns out really, really well. There was a ton of terraforming that had to go into this, and I still think I am not done with all the terraforming because I'm new to the terraforming and I believe that I can still meld this area a lot better. But for now, I believe it's kind of done enough in a way where I can work with some paths or maybe like some other textures down here just to make it look nicer, because I do plan on building down here as well. And once the cliffside was done, I think this looks really, really, really nice. Like surprisingly nice, even for me, okay? Of course, I had to plant things down on top, but I think this looks so much better than I could have imagined, okay? I used a little bit of cobblestone, we got some stairs, we got some slabs, but it all pulled together really well. So the next 3 days were unequivocally boring, okay? I didn't do any really cool stuff to the base. I actually ventured out and did a few, like, chore things in a way. Day 13, I went out and grabbed as much food as I possibly could because, well, I was running really low and I've kind of been surviving on salmon for a long time now. Day 14, I went mining just because, well, what else am I gonna do? Okay, not really. I'm just kidding. I am really quite greedy when it comes to diamonds because I'm gonna be using diamond tools the entire time, hopefully, and I don't really want to have to ever run out of them, so intermediate mining here and there is never a bad thing. And then day 15, I was returning home through, by the way, one of these custom biomes, and I was able to find a lot of flowers, okay? It was really, really nice to just find an area where I could get as many flowers for my path and my builds as possible, so I gathered up as much of those as possible. I keep saying possible, but it's possible that I will continue saying possible for the rest of this possibly video. Ho-ho, I should probably not include that, but I'm gonna. Anyway, after that extreme mess up with my voiceover, I returned home. So I've accumulated a few levels over these days, and I figured it was time to enchant. I decided to enchant 2 separate pickaxes and got this same enchant on both of them, efficiency 4. I don't like blank enchants, okay? I got 1 enchant on a pickaxe that could have given me like 3, and I'm gonna have to re-enchant this stuff when I have more levels. After that, it was back to terraforming. My wall was gonna get much bigger because I was planning on adding some more features down here, and I wanted this to look more like a cliff wall. Once I had that section built, I wanted to continue my path a little bit on the right side away from my house because I was planning on putting another build here. As you know, I don't have any animals, and I figure I should probably make a stable pretty soon so that I can, well, survive on food and have all the leather I need for, well, I already have an enchantment. What do I need leather for? Well, whatever I'll need it for, I'm gonna definitely need the area for all of my animals, so I started working on a platform that I could put them. I'm doing a lot more terraforming projects nowadays, and I think it's a lot cooler where you take the landscape and you meld it to what you want instead of working around the landscape. And I have to credit most of the things that I'm able to do now by watching Fwip. And if you guys don't know, I'm currently using his texture pack, which is linked in my Discord, of course, so if you guys need that link, always go there, check it out. I also just released a Discord, so maybe you guys go check that out as well. But like I was saying, Fwip has helped me to become a better builder when it comes to terraforming and landscaping, and I have a lot to learn still, but I think I'm getting better. I'm currently using a ton of stone for a lot of my pathways, so I went out and grabbed as much as I possibly could because I should have grabbed silk first. What am I thinking? I guess technically I went out and grabbed a ton of cobblestone for all of my builds, which I'd have to smelt down later, but that's the struggle of not having any levels because you're a builder instead of a, regular speedrunner? I don't know. How do you get XP in this game? Now that I have all of my walls around this base, I need to start working on the stables. I have a small idea for stables that I have seen someone kind of work with before, but I wanted to put my own twist on it. Took me a while before I got the layout down because the animal pens were much smaller than I intended, but I think it still works with my builds. I added in this really cool tower and later realized that I added in a tower that was 2 by 2 in the middle, so it kind of looks a little weird on top, but I think I worked it well into the build. And then the sides, of course, I kind of made them more like a barn area because, well, that's really what this is. This is an animal housing barn. It's small, but it's still a barn. Obviously, I have to make this place look really, really nice, so I added in my paths, all of my flowers, my details, and I learned this really cool trick from Flip with a log and a campfire. They actually kind of work really, really well together and make it look like it's a pile of logs that you can use for a fire or something like that. So I put this over to the side and obviously continued the flowers. I think this place looks really nice, and now I'm ready to go grab some animals. I had this genius idea to offhand some seeds as well as hold wheat in my other hand, and I was able to grab sheep and chickens at the same time. Took me a while to get them all the way back here because, well, animal AI is a little weird. Eventually, I got them both in their separate pens and was able to breed them successfully, so now, last on the list is some cows. I journeyed all the way up to where I found the sheep and the chicken previously and found a single cow. Luckily, there were a few off to the side of him, and I think he just kind of went away from his little group. Overall, I have about 5 cows here, and I think this will already fill up my pen. I kind of need an idea on how to expand this thing, because I think I'm going to need more animals later, but I want to keep and stick with the small builds. How do I make an animal pen that's small, but yet can still hold a lot of animals? After successfully accomplishing an entire stable and getting all the animals in there, I figured let's take a break from building and go mining. Since we're in 1.18, I figured there's probably going to be a lot of exposed diamonds, and in a few days, I want to have enough to last me the entire 100 days. Obviously, I would grab other things like iron and lapis, coal, whatever else, but I was on the main look for diamonds. Overall, every diamond vein is about 1 to 2 diamonds at this point because of how weird the generation is and how little exposed diamonds are. So it did take me quite a few days to get all of the diamonds I need, but if you walk into a cave, you're gonna see quite a few diamonds. So honestly, it's probably faster than the old technique. I want to point out one highlight though from this trip. While mining up to get out of a single cave, I ran into a 15 vein of diamonds. I doubt that this would ever spawn in a cave because of how little I actually found in caves compared to me just mining up on accident. But if this is a possibility, maybe strip mining would be worth it. I have no clue how this really spawned, but that was a good vein. I walked out of this session with over a stack of diamonds, okay? That's 1.18 for you. It only took me 3 days to find a stack of diamonds. Now that we're back, I started working on a second farm island in a way. It's not really an island, it's more of like a cliff face that I'm adding on because I really kind of like the idea of using this mountain that's here and kind of making it into a cliff area for a village down below. The ideal goal is to kind of continue this cliff area that I've already made with cobblestone and stone all the way around this kind of mountain, and then I have an idea to make a valley underneath, but we'll see what happens. However, this little farming project I had did not take only a single day. It was a while before I eventually got this island settled and then continued my farming idea into more of a slope where I could get down. Of course, this mountainside cliff is not going to be a single area where I have to stay up here the whole time. I want to get down, I want to be able to do things below. So to do that, I ended up making an area where it was still farming, but yet still a pathway for me to access the lower areas. After I finished up the landscape work, I wanted to add the minor details, aka a trading area. So first thing I went on to build was this little cart which had a barrel and a chest just for some more storage. Then inside the mountain, I wanted to hollow it out, add in a little stand at the front, and then put some chests and every other thing else here because, you know, we want storage. I think this area looks really, really nice with all of the little minor details here. And of course, we're going to add some flowers and some hay, barrels, and all that kind of stuff, if not now, later. Currently not looking at the footage, so going off recall. And then I had to leave for a second, and that second turned into a minute, and then that minute turned into 40 or so. And I was kind of AFK for a couple of days. Sorry, Winter. I know I left you on your own, but I'm sure you handled it fine. Speaking of Winter, we'll start to see him pretty soon. Next on my list was terraforming this river so that I had more space to work with down below. Obviously, I was going to add villagers. I was going to add a town, hopefully. I really don't know how I'm going to do this because I feel like my builds right now are really small and the town idea that I have is going to be really big, so I don't know how to meld them together. But for now, what I'm doing is currently covering up the river in a way because this river kind of turned into a pond and then a river again, so I'm just covering up the pond part. And then I'm terraforming it into the river. This took a lot of dirt, by the way, in hopes of making the river still look really nice, but giving myself more room to work with. Now for the regular Minecraft stuff. I haven't gone to the nether and I'm currently still wearing an iron chestplate and iron leggings. My boots and helmet were never even crafted or broke at this point. So I'd like to make an area that is designed for the nether portal, but as well hides an enchantment table. I'm not hiding it from Winter or anything like that. He thinks this room is a really good idea. But what I'm really trying to do is create this cool effect in the enchantment table room where it's a little bit more particle-y and a lot more magic. But first things first, I'm gonna need a lot of dye to create the glass that I'm gonna be using for all this magic. So that's what I went out and did. I killed as many portable ink sacs as I possibly could, as well as gathered all the flowers I needed, and then made all of my dyes, as well as started smelting all the sand. So over the course of the last 36 days, Winter has been working on a waterfall and of course his house. Now at the very bottom of the waterfall, he really wanted to put a cool pond as well as hide a secret villager area underneath said pond. Winter looks to me a lot of times to help him with builds because he is starting fresh and kind of new to building just like I am. However, I think I've picked it up a little bit better. Although in these recent days, he's really showing a good building prowess when he's doing these videos with me. So together we started working on an outline of a pond and I kind of gave a little bit too much input, but I don't think he really minded? Anyway, I think we both agree that this looks quite nice and he can easily hide a villager trading hall underneath here. Speaking of hiding things, my nether portal does not lead to the correct area. I went through, checked out the nether, basalt by the way, went back and I was behind Winter's house. I don't know how I'm all the way back here, but I'm minding this stupid portal and we're gonna figure out how to realign this thing. Alright, so if you guys don't know, every 8 blocks in the nether is 1 block in the overworld. So I figured out where my portal was in the overworld and then realized that the portal in the nether was in the wrong spot. I can't believe I just used math in Minecraft, but all I had to do was move it over about 20 or so blocks, and then simple math gave me a portal that connects straight to where I was supposed to be going in the first place. Now with our portal realigned, we can finish up our enchantment table. I took another page out of Flip's book and made a floating enchant table. Yes, I realize that I'm talking about Flip a lot, but he is probably my favorite Minecraft builder, and how can you not take advice from one of the best builders in Minecraft? Like, come on now. I think overall this design is probably one of my favorite overhauls of the enchantment table, and we get a level 30, so I think this was worth it. Alright, remember this area over here? Well, I decided to wall it in so I could get to my enchantment table easier. Obviously, I had to make a path over there and add all of my decorations to make it look cooler, but now I believe that this entire area is mob-proof, spawnable-proof. No mobs, alright? That's the gist of it. I believe now I am living in a full-on mob-proof sanctuary that no mob can get in, and technically if I had a mob in here, I wouldn't let him out either. Now let's return to regular Minecraft, and I need enchantment levels because I'm planning on having diamond armor really soon. And to do so, I'm gonna grab some quartz, but of course I have a silk touch pickaxe now. Forgot to mention that, by the way. Yeah, I've got a silk touch. So getting these levels is going to be a little bit harder, but I figured I can spend a couple days and gather as many as I can and then just mine them with a regular pickaxe when I get back. Overall, I believe I gathered around 4 stacks, and it's the nether. It's not that big of a deal. I mean, it's kind of boring, so I'm just going to glance over the fact that I was there. So now that we're back, I'm going to be placing down all of these quartz and mining them with my efficiency 4 pickaxe that I have because it has nothing else on it. Therefore, I can at least get the levels. Once I had 34 levels, I went into my enchanting room and realized that every single thing that I wanted to enchant all had Unbreaking 3 on it. So I figured I may as well just go with the axe because I have a better chance of getting efficiency with that. Afterwards, I enchanted my boots with Protection 3 with a lucky hope of getting anything else, and I got Unbreaking 3 with Depth Strider 3, so I think that's kind of worth it. After enchanting some of my gear, we decided to go to the village that was nearby and see if we could steal some villagers. Winter's Pond was obviously going to be his villager trading hall, as I mentioned previously, and he's ready to get some villagers going so we can have better books and better armor, that kind of stuff. Once we got there, we decided to sleep because we didn't want any mobs getting in our way. I won't lie, we spent the entire day looking for an area that would get us the best result when it came to getting our villagers home, but we really couldn't find one. And of course, we boated home that night, and somehow I forgot to record. You know what? We got them home. That's the biggest thing. They're now in this dirt box. Okay, so now that I have villagers, I have a really cool idea to make a village for them. In a way, I'm still gonna keep them as my friends. They are friends. But I'm still gonna want to make a custom village for them because obviously I'm building a lot more. And so to do that, I really want to use terracotta, which means I'm gonna go look for a mesa for a very, very, very long time. The only thing noteworthy along the way was this desert temple, and I mean, it was okay. There totally wasn't a god apple and a mending book inside here. I swear I did not put those there, okay? You guys are gonna think so, that I did something in creative, but I swear I didn't. That was just my luck. And if Winter recorded these things, he would show you his luck, and it's not good. So I have to have all the luck, all right? Thankfully, after an hour of boating later, we finally found a mesa that we can use, and I may currently still be recording this video, and I have no idea where this is. I spent all this time doing this, and I think I lost the cords for this place. Yep, I'm a little upset. Just a tinge. Now it's time to go back home through the nether and forget about the cords of this place forever and ever and ever. The look of an idiot. Oh, look at this. My portal. I'm finally home. I'm about to get the biggest achievement in Minecraft. Yeah, I just traveled very, very far in the nether to get home. But we're back. Thank God. Once I got home, Winter invited me to go check out his pond because he has made a little bit of a villager trading hall, and I think it looks really, really nice. In the middle of this pond, you jump down in these signs and boom, you're in it. And of course, he's working on the mending villager right now. I think he already has it at this point, but I mean, it's still pretty nice down here. It's a really great design and it actually gives them a bed, something that I am not gonna do. So he's a little bit nicer than I am to our friends. Friends is the right word there, right? Right? Now that we've hashed out where the mesa is and how cool Winter's Villager Trading Hall is gonna look, I think it's time we finally get our diamond armor set. And to do that, we're gonna need a few more levels. I'm only sitting at 8 right now. So I went back into the nether, grabbed as much quartz as I possibly could, and then went back home and started mining that quartz until I'd get to level 30, and then enchanting, and then 30, and then enchant, and then 30, and then you get the process. Overall, it took me a few days to finally get all of this mined down and finally have a good set of armor. All of it is prot 3 except for my helmet, which is prot 4. All of it has unbreaking, and soon, hopefully, all of it will have mending. Alright, so now that mending's in play, we need a brown mushroom to turn that villager to give us 1 mending book for 1 emerald. Unfortunately, we don't have any brown mushrooms, and we can't find any. Even on my mesa trip that took me hours of travel, I didn't find a single brown mushroom or a dark oak biome. So even though Winter logged off for the night, he gave me the go-ahead to continue playing to find that brown mushroom so that we could get the mending book. After traveling in the opposite direction, aka behind Winter's house instead of in front of it, I finally boated into a dark oak forest. Of course, it was at night and I was getting jumped by skeletons, but I made sure to secure 3 stacks of brown mushrooms because I was taking no chances. Once I returned home, I made sure to get my weakness potion, lure a zombie into the pond and let him kill the villager at will, and then not click on the guy with my god apple and turn him into a villager once more. Thankfully, the mending book stayed in his inventory and I was able to trade for an extra 7 mending books. That was enough for all of my armor and my sword once I was able to enchant it again. The only thing I hope now is that mushrooms actually do spawn in the Caves and Cliffs update and this was not an oversight, because we really can't find any. Alright, so I have an idea to kind of develop this valley a little bit. What I want to do is I want to put in a river in front of my base to kind of separate this area from the area that I'm going to create, as well as clear out all of these trees, all of this land, and terraform it so that I can make a small village. Of course, if I'm going to have a river, I'm going to need a little bit of a water source that it can flow from, so I went ahead and made myself a pond a little bit behind my base, just so that it has a little bit of continuity. Next, I'm going to have to clear out some of these trees so that I can terraform the landscape and give myself a bird's eye view of what I'm going to really be creating. Remember that whole terraforming thing? Yeah, I definitely don't have a lot of area to cover here. Stacks upon stacks of dirt later, and we finally did it. Holy cow. And day 56, I decided I wanted to make a bridge, but I could not get the design right. I didn't want a 2-wide bridge or a 3-wide bridge, and I had no luck. Eventually on Pinterest, I stumbled across a campfire bridge and decided this was probably the best option for this little area. And to this day, it still is probably one of my favorite bridges I've made. It's just so cute and very accommodating. After the rousing success of that bridge, I went ahead and mined up terracotta for, well, hopefully a build in this village. The goal was to lay out the plans of the village with colored terracotta, as well as use some of the terracotta for the roofing. Once I got back, I got to work. I dyed all the terracotta and then started laying it out in paths, farms, villager houses, and my houses. Eventually, I think I had a coherent village idea that I was going to use to, well, build a village. And of course, while laying that out, I had another idea where I wanted to make my lake/river area look a lot nicer. I was going to add in these rocks every few blocks so that, well, it looked more natural. Well, it's not really natural, is it? It's more like unnatural, but natural at the same time. I don't know how I like it, but I kind of do, and I'm going to keep it. So once I got all the rocks complete, I went to the nether and grabbed as much glowstone as I could possibly need. Reason for this is I wanted to light up the bottom of this river so that it would kind of look like its own build or entity. Obviously, I want this area to be as spawn-proof as possible, and to do that, I'm going to need lighting. However, underwater lighting isn't really the issue, but it does make the river shine a little bit better compared to all of my other builds. Therefore, I've done my job in making the river look very, very nice. And now that the river is complete, we're going to move on to the village, but of course, we're going to need some supplies. First on the list is, of course, spruce wood, because I mean, what else am I gonna use to build out of? Like, come on, it's spruce. I need it. And then after that, I spent way too long hunting for calcite, which is a new block to me. It's a 1.17 block, I believe. It spawns in the geodes around the amethyst. I don't care about the amethyst. All I want is the calcite because it is a very, very nice offset to white concrete powder and quartz block, okay? I don't know why they work, but they do. And that was going to be the combo I was using with this spruce wood, so I spent a day gathering that too. All right, so now that I have the materials, let's start doing the outline for this town hall. I say it's a town hall because, well, really, it's just gonna be my chest room, but it's gonna still be the biggest building in the village. However, this thing's not gonna be done in one day. I wanted it to be multiple faces of a building, and I think I kinda conquered that pretty easily. I started out with the front though, because the front's a little bit easier. It's got 2 building front faces, and I'm gonna add in a lot more around the sides and the back, as well as 3 separate towers. Yeah, this one's a mighty big build. Okay, well, it's not big, it's detailed, all right? And that's something I don't normally do, so we're kind of conquering some fears and doing some new stuff here. But we're already on day 63. We are really far into this 100 days, and we haven't even thought about the dragon, so we figured we may as well go take it on now. First things first, I had to head over to the nether fortress and kill as many blazes as I could, because, well, we need blaze rods for the Eyes of Ender. I think I gathered about 9 of them, and I knew I was safe from there. After that, I traveled a very, very, very long way for the blue biome, which I believe is the warped forest, and was able to finally kill enough endermen to get all the ender pearls I needed and some extra just in case we broke some along the way to take us all the way to the end portal. We are prepared and ready. Let's see where this takes us. Okay, well, looks like we're heading in this direction. I don't know why this is always like a big reveal moment, but we're just gonna be walking in this direction forever. A few thousand blocks later, we think we had it figured out, and we threw it one more time just to check, and now we're just gonna dig down and see if we can find it on our own. I only had exactly 12, and I basically lost 3 on the way here, so we're not gonna throw another one just in case we get an empty portal. And of course, we found it by digging into the 1.18 caves and just kind of walking around because, well, we're in 1.18, so everything's an air block now, so it wasn't that hard to find. All right, it's time to enter the end and fight the Ender Dragon. Let's do this thing. So being the most prepared duo in the world, Winter had the only bow, and I think he only had a collection of 18 arrows. So he had to really hit all of his shots. And while he was doing that, I would build up to the iron cage towers so that he didn't have to waste any shots on those and just try and break those while he was, well, hopefully getting the rest. I still think overall I was the one who broke the most, but we're not going to talk about that. Winter sucks with a bow. I'm just kidding, Winter. If you actually do watch this video, I hate you. Never mind, just kidding. Well, I don't know about him anymore. Do I like him? Do I not like him? Anyway, back to the dragon fight. After all the crystals were rendered useless, the dragon decided to perch on us, and, well, since I have a background in actually speedrunning for a little while, I know how to kill an ender dragon. Well, at least I know how to get underneath the ender dragon, something that Winter struggled with this entire fight. I got a pretty decent first run on it with my axe, but it did take a while before it finally died. Thankfully, Winter entered the final blow, and we were done with yet again another dragon. Okay, these things are too easy. I could probably just beat this thing with my fist if I'm honest. While trying to claim our prize of the Ender Dragon egg, it fell straight through the portal, which means it's somewhere at our spawn. And currently, we don't remember where that is, so let's just hope we find it one day. Now, onto the end gateway. Of course, we have to find ourselves some elytras, because what's the point of really going to the end without getting those? I mean, come on, they're the best. Let's just hope this just doesn't take an hour and a half. So 3 days later, no, I'm kidding. This was like in the span of 10 minutes I found this place, okay? It didn't take me long, but I did spot an end city with a ship. Of course, since I'm taking on way more building projects, I'm going to try and get as many of these shulker shells as possible because they're very, very useful for building. And when I say grab every shulker shell, I mean it. This entire room's got to be cleared out, so may as well start hitting now. And boom, my elytra now. Let's take this thing for a test drive and find out where this end gateway is so we can go home. Oh yeah, update on Winter. He found an end city like right before I did, so we both now have an elytra and we're good to go for the rest of the series. Now that we've unlocked the end as a premier getaway destination, it's time to unlock one of the cooler farms in Minecraft. I believe it's time to build the best XP farm, an Enderman Xp Farm. But not only one, we're gonna build 2. One each so that we don't have to worry about one of us being there when one of us really needs XP. So for that, we're gonna need a lot of blocks, we're gonna need a lot of iron, we're gonna need a ton of things to do that, and we're both gonna need it. So we kind of went on a journey to get everything, and let's just say it was kind of boring, okay? We got our iron, we got all of our blocks, we got all of our leaves, we got everything now, and we're ready to go. Now, you guys all know that I already know how to build an Enderman farm. This is going to be Winter's first build of one, however. He's seen me do one in our duo world, but this one is a little bit different, okay? Because he's doing it all on his own. First off, you got to build out with leaves, and then you make a platform below. You got to start with the circles going all the way up to, I believe, Y44? And then you do the giant platform on top. While we were doing all of these things, he had the tutorial open just for a little bit of help, as well as I would fly over there here and then just to check on his progress. After all that, we gotta spawn in the Endermite, and boom. Now the Endermen are all attracted to him and they fall in this hole. This is probably one of the more perfect XP farms in the world because look at how fast it is. Every time I hit an Enderman or a group of them, I get so many levels. And now that we have 2 of them, I don't think we'll be worrying about EXP ever again. Now that our time in the end has come to a screeching halt, let's continue on our town hall. As explained previously, it's basically a bunch of different houses kind of put together to make a cabin of sorts with a few towers in between. So I started off by working on each face of the house. Everything's gonna be in different directions, so you kind of gotta meld it together for it to work. Once I was done with that, I started working on the roof outline because I want it to be medieval as possible, as I'm trying to go for more of a witch mystic theme, and I think medieval roofs really work with that. As well as, of course, I'm familiar with medieval roofing, and that's probably my favorite thing to build. After that, I imported this terracotta from thousands of blocks away onto the top of this house, and now we have more of a mystic vibe. Of course, we've done nothing with the interior and or exterior of this place yet, but hopefully by the time I'm done with these 100 days, we will have some resemblance of a village here. And this building here is going to be the main center of it all. Hopefully my chest room, and hopefully continue its name as a town hall. Next up, it was time to put a little bit of more minute details around the outside. My first plan of action was to add some purple windows around the outside. And if you're wondering how I have my purple windows like this, it's the flip texture pack. If you guys need it, it's also in my Discord, which I don't normally advertise, but I do have a Discord link down below in the description where you can get all of my shaders packs and all the texture packs that I use. I also went around on some of the non-wooded structures and added a little bit more of these fences here just as posts to kind of look like they're holding up the house. Then I wanted to do a little bit more of a complicated window in the front, one that kind of made it look like it popped out of the wall. Basically what you do is you kind of make a cube or a square, or technically a rectangle because you're not finishing the square, out of glass, and it wraps around like a really cool outward window. Although I don't think it looked really good. I don't know why. Right now I'm looking at it, it looks awesome, but I wanted to add something just a little bit better, so I replaced the middle 2 slabs with some stairs. I think this right here just adds a little bit of element of attachment so that it doesn't look like it's kind of just floating there. Next, I wanted to complicate the entrance. Normally I use the stairs and trapdoors to hold up the oak wood, but this time I wanted to be a little bit different. I added some spruce fence gates as well as some stone brick walls to add a little bit of texture, later adding some fences on the bottom of those with some lanterns just to give it a little light, and trapdoors underneath those. Then I switched out the top of the door for a stair so that it will add a little bit more dimension and a little bit more indentation into the front of this build, and I think it looks great. Knowing I'm going to be doing a lot more builds like this motivates me to do some of the chore work, aka go and gather as much spruce as I possibly can, so I finished off day 72 in a spruce forest, just cutting down all the big taiga trees I could. Alright, so the next couple of days I spent on the interior of my build. Now, I'm not going to show you the entire process because me detailing every single thing in here is not necessary for you to hear about. Basically, I'm just going to show you the different points that I made. So first off, I made an entire kitchen, and then I went and did the living room, of course, and added some exterior builds with like a lot of bookshelf stuff, and I just really wanted to kind of add as many areas I could for lanterns, flower pots, heads, that sort of thing, so that it made the room look a lot more inviting. After that, I had to make an upstairs where I could put all of my chests, and I used a hanging staircase idea for that I saw on Pinterest, which I really like. Then I started detailing the upstairs more, where I added all of my chests with item frames. We have a table in the middle for my map, we have the furnace area, and of course even more bookshelves where I could just throw some more stuff on top of, aka lanterns and planters at this point. Overall, I was going for more of a log cabin vibe, and I think I kind of accomplished that without any logs. And I believe Winter commented that this was probably one of my best builds I've done, and we did a duo hardcore world where I did a gigantic build. He liked this one better. After I finished this build, I decided that it was time to move everything from my old house into this one. If this was going to be my chest organization area, I was going to need to do a lot of organizing. And of course, I have chest after chest and barrel after barrel full and full of things. Of course, I'm going to have to sort them in all of these chests with all these item frames, and it took way too long. I tried giving each chest a very good variety of what I wanted inside of it so that it wasn't always just one block, as well as I tried to make a second area for non-blocks, so I kind of had that separation in the house. Of course, after days of walking back and forth between these houses, I had finally finished it and we were ready to move on with these 100 days. Next up, it was time to start the second build of the village. This one was going to be a villager breeder, okay, and I needed it to be decent sized. It was going to be the most populated out of the village, and I was going to have a lot of beds in there, as well as I was thinking about using both stories for beds, so yeah, it was going to have to be pretty big. Obviously, I started this thing out the same way as I always do. We add in the spruce, we add in the oak, and we add in the calcite. Those are the 3 blocks I'm going to be using for this village, as well as the purple terracotta, and I think it all works really, really well. I kept with the medieval theme because that's really what I'm trying to stick with here. This is a medieval village. This is a medieval, well, I mean, my starter base is kind of medieval, but that's just the style I go with. So sticking to it kind of seemed necessary. Now, this build did not have a tower in it because, well, I didn't want every single build to have a tower. However, I do end up adding more later. But I think this building stands on its own when it comes to uniqueness, as it has 3 different sets of roofs. And when I got the interior done, it was really, really nice to see a super cool open concept where I could have beds on the top floor and on the bottom floor, and hopefully no iron golems are going to spawn in here, because that's been a problem this 100 days. While visiting Winter at his latest build, the Creeper Farm, I stumbled into a bunch of e-girls, and they gave me some bad omen. Not my best call, and Winter even gave me a water bucket to go try and find a cow so that I could get rid of it. However, I flew directly home. I don't know how, but I completely forgot that I had bad omen and started a raid due to the fact that my villager breeder was now popping with villagers. Thankfully, Winter's Creeper Farm wasn't too far away and he flew home to help me out with this raid. It was only a level 1, so I wasn't too nervous, but we also didn't have any bows to fend off any Ravengers, so 50-50. Each wave spawned on a separate side of the village, none of them really getting too close. However, one of the raids ended up in Winter's Pond, which was pretty close to some villagers, I guess. Obviously, we were dealing with many Ravengers, Evokers, Vindicators, all of the above, constantly shooting at us in water, which was probably one of the worst places we could have been. Thankfully, throughout the 100 days, his villagers have been spawning iron golems right into his pond, so they helped us a little bit. The level 1 raid didn't last very long, and we were each successful in getting 2 totems. These totems would be very useful later in case we got into any sticky situations where we had to use them, so I mean, having them on hand is pretty nice. We just didn't expect to get them this way. So now that we have a villager breeder, it's time to make the book villager house, or I guess the library? This one is going to consist of 5 book villagers, hopefully unbreaking, mending, prot, like that kind of stuff. And to do that, I'm gonna need a lot more wood, so that's what I did for day 79. I gathered as much spruce and oak as I could, so that, you know, I had enough building material for this next house. Now it's time to tell you about the biggest waste of days I've ever had. The next 2 days, I obviously went and did the book villager house because that's, well, that was my plan, right? So we're gonna build a really cool library, and it turned out horrible. Once I had it done, I realized it was in the way wrong spot, and it wasn't even facing the right direction. It just made my village look more like a line. So what did I do? I teared it all the way down. That means I just wasted 3 days building this, and now I have to redo it. The only good thing that came out of this situation is that I really knew how to build it the second time, so it didn't take near as long, but still, 3 days wasted for this. Not good. But now this place is looking really, really nice, and it's time to start re-rolling them. Which took me an entire day, and I got nothing. I literally got absolutely nothing. And since we already had villagers from Winter's side, I didn't really need mending or unbreaking right now, especially since my gear's already almost maxed. So I figured the next project I should work on is probably some farming villagers. And of course, with that kind of massive project, I'm going to be needing a lot more oak wood. Spruce wood is a little bit easier to get because, well, I already have a lot and I don't need a lot for my builds, but oak wood, it's going to take me a little bit. So once I had the material list gathered up, I figured we should start working on the frame. I wanted to do 3 separate types of buildings, but make it one on the interior. I started off with calcite on the outside, and the middle was going to be more oak. I laid out each level and gave it all roofing, and then realized later that I did not have enough terracotta for this build. Of course, that means I have to go all the way back to the terracotta biome and mine out. That's what I'm showing you right now, isn't it? I'm showing you that I'm mining out terracotta. Okay, cool. Once I got back, I had it dyed, and then it was time to place it all down. Of course, we stuck with the purple and magenta theme because, well, again, Mystic. And overall, these buildings are starting to look really, really cool. I can't get over the fact that I've created something so cool. Like, I've never done a village before, and let me know how you guys like it, because I'm kind of enjoying creating these, and I also might start a 1.18 survival world in the next few days, so maybe I can start stuff there too. But once I had the outside done, I had to work on the interior. Of course, I wanted to go simplistic because, well, I mean, it is like a villager area. I don't really need it to be heavy like I did with my base, but I still want it to look a little nice. I ended up even making a second floor that I guess I'm probably just going to use for storage for like all of my pumpkins and stuff once I have a farm for that. Wow, I really should have thought of this ahead of time. And then once all of that was done, I had to work on getting the villagers inside and trade with them. That process took a lot longer than I really wanted, but I mean, overall, it still worked. We've got farming villagers now, so whenever I really want emeralds, I can probably just steal from Winter's pumpkin farm and, you know, get some emeralds. Next, I gathered up everything I've harvested over the last 100 days, and I kind of harvested Winter's farm. I had permission, so don't worry about that. Once I had it all ready, I started trading with the villagers to see what kind of trades they would have. I was hoping they would all have pumpkin and melon trades so that when I did start like auto farms such as those, then I wouldn't have to really worry about one of them being melon, one of them being pumpkin, one of them not having, one of them having, and I got pretty lucky with that. Once I had all of their trades locked in, I figured I should probably turn them all. Or at least some of them, because for some reason the zombie really didn't want to eat them. But yeah, the best thing for me to do was to just let him in there and just wander around, eat as many as he could. Then every time he did, I would walk in, throw a weakness potion, give him a golden apple, and leave again. It was a slow process, but eventually I got most of them turned. Then once I got them upgraded, I checked all of their pumpkin and melon trades, and I got pretty lucky with most of them being pumpkin and melon together. There were a couple that didn't really like me enough for that, but it's alright. Then, of course, I grabbed a lot more emeralds from all these villagers, and you know what? We're set for now. If we ever had to trade for books, which I still gotta re-roll those guys, we should be fine on emeralds for that. Alright, so we're getting really, really close to the end of these 100 days, and there are a few projects that I still have to get done for probably 200 days. If you guys do end up liking the video enough, then 200 days will happen, and this is what I want to do. I'm clearing out this area so that I can build the second part of the village over here. Obviously, in 200 days, we'll have it all decorated over there, but on this side of the river, I want it to be all farmland and farm-based. So, of course, for now, I'm going to flatten all of it out, collect all of this dirt, and then most likely terraform it in 200 days. For now, though, the collection of all of these resources is super, super useful, because now I have all of this area and I can envision what I really, really need to do. After the completion of that side project, I had a really cool idea to finish off these 100 days. And basically what I wanted to do was do a raid. So I went searching for a pillager outpost. Yes, we actually do have one pretty close to his creeper farm and really close to a village, but for some reason pillagers were not spawning. So I flew around the world until I found another pillager outpost, and no pillagers were spawning there either. I don't know if it's something to do with the Terralith mod, but I just can't get pillagers to spawn. So with a ton of wasted time doing all of that, I went to the end and started killing some Endermen because, you know what, it's just therapy at this point. While enchanting books, I was thinking of something I could do for the 100 days, and Winter had this great suggestion. Why not do one of the achievements introduced in 1.18? Caves and Cliffs. It's an achievement where you have to go from the very, very top of the map all the way to the very, very bottom and not die, obviously. Well, you might be able to die. I don't know. We didn't die, so obviously we have no idea. But basically, it's this giant trust fall in our new terrain area because, well, now we can go from, what, Y320 to, like, -68? So we'd be falling for a lot of blocks. So we dug holes all the way to the bottom of the map, and we figured that we should probably just leave water down there so that we didn't have to clutch it. At one point, we kind of figured we wanted to, so we did build a 3x3 hole, but later realized it's just not the best option. Then, as day 100 rolled around, what did we do? We took a leap of faith all the way down to Y-64 and completed the cooler achievement in 1.18. We've done it. We've successfully survived 100 days in 1.18 modded terrain. If you guys did enjoy this video and all of the amazing accomplishments we've done so far, as always, hit that like button down below and subscribe, and I hope to see you guys in the next 100 days, or in one of my Minecraft hardcore series. Other than that, I've got nothing for you. Have a great rest of your day, and hopefully you go find another 100 days to watch. Peace.